Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to another episode here at Always Daily Driven. I'm very excited about these next videos coming up. As you see the title, that we are starting a brand new build. But first, before we jump into the episode, I know people have asked about some merch and they've asked about how they can support. And if you would be interested in trying to help support the channel, obviously this is what helps fund what we have plans in the future. Either way, we're going to do it, but it just kind of helps me out and kind of helps the channel. So what we do have is, well, now we have a hoodies. It'll have the Drastic branding, which is our company, and in the back it would say there's an image in the back where I drew up a couple of cards for some people, and I just kind of compiled it together, and it goes, to finish first, you must first finish. So it's just a little saying, something cool. I do have sweaters, and I do have shirts here, but everything is pre-order. It also have a logo on the side. They'll say Always Daily Driven. It shows that you're supporting. So if you're interested for some merch, put a link in the description. We'll try. If not, you can reach out to me on my Facebook, Always Daily Driven. I'll have a post put up there, and it'll follow you to a link. So like I said, these shirts and sweaters are pre-order. Now we do make them in-house, just like everything else. So they're not that hard, or it won't take that long to fulfill the order. So if you're interested in some merch and help support, check out the link, and let's jump into this episode. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the episode here at Always Daily Driven. Very excited about this episode. As you can tell by the clip or the thumbnail, that we are starting a new build. Now this video is post Chili Bowl. We have really worked through this, trying to get it done. I really wanted to this year wanted to focus on building cars. One of the deals that pretty much was made when I acquired this machine, the CNC machine from Silky, was to help build cars and then provide it to our group of friends. The cars are not per se, it's not really a purpose for manufacturing, but if somebody wanted a car, I wouldn't be opposed to it. Obviously I would talk with the guys. But I just really wanted to build something. Wanted to repurpose a car that's just been sitting around. And even though it may still sit around for a little bit, but whenever we go to a race where we can race this car, it'll be ready to go, and then we'll go from there. So we're gonna reach back here, grab a car, and we'll start on this build. So one of the projects I want to kind of get into, and it's kind of something I just kind of when looking at it, you look at the midgets. The midgets are starting to grow popularity, and I'm pretty sure the way things are, and just looking at how the Chili Bowl has been going the last couple of years, I'm pretty sure there's a midget class coming in, and I'm pretty sure that it's gonna be part of one of the classes. I'm pretty sure something's gonna happen. It's just inevitable. Someone who invests so much in car, and then not only that, to make his own tires, a spec tire for that, and then so much money that he invests into the Chili Bowl itself, I'm pretty sure it's happening. So I really don't care. We don't really have a place to run it, but I think it's pretty cool. And I have a car in one of my arsenals of cars in the wall over here that I just really we need to convert, and we need to get rid of the little bug that's in this shop that just does not belong. So let's check it. This is the current wall of cars that I have. Some of them are out of date, some are missing parts, whatever, but for the most part they all run. But there's one car that we just need to convert and kind of just repurpose it, and this thing right here. Let's take the cage off of it and look into it. All right, so here we go. Here it is. We got, I don't even know what year this car is anymore. X-Ray comes out with the car every year. So it's an X-Ray based sprint car, and it is a TLC car. So we've mentioned Tech Light before, and it's not really something I really want to get into anyway. So prime reason is that I got this car even was the fact that I got this car as is. I mean, even down to the receiver, the receiver and the transponder. What happened was we were at an event. It was a event for a gentleman who had passed, and he was selling his cars, and he had all X-ray stuff. So I was kind of in the market looking for another car. I was really aiming for the street stock because that's what I wanted for my boy, but that went fast and way more money than what I wanted to pay for street stock. So then the Sprint car came up, and I bought it. It came with every single thing on it: radio, receiver, motor, everything. Even the receiver worked on my radio, so all I had to do was bind it. So I remember that day we bought it, we bounded it up. I think I missed one heat race because they made one heat race, but it was just like kind of like an open race. It wasn't really, but I entered that car into the race and ended up winning. We ended up winning that race with the car. It was a pretty cool deal. The family was there. So it is what it is. But for the simple fact is that I have a wingless car up here, which is Associated Base. I got my Custom Works 10.5, and then I have another car up there that is my open sprint car. So I don't need the sprint car. Just to keep it real, I don't want anything tech light in my shop. So we're gonna get rid of the chassis. We're gonna go ahead and rebuild it. We're gonna rebuild it step by step. Now, usually when I've been doing all these modifications on RC cars and stuff with the mill or the lathe, the CNC router, it was based off of files that Suki already created, and pretty much I just fine tune it. Well, now we're gonna do our own. We're gonna do our own measurements. So we're gonna go step by step. So it'll pretty much be a series on this build. I'd really like to take care of it within a couple of days, but it's gonna take longer. We're gonna do a lot of cutting with cardboard, and then once we get everything matched up, we're gonna mount it permanently on some plastic, and then we'll get to the carbon fiber. Just for the fact they know that it works. So yeah, just something to do and something to have that I want. And I don't want another sprint car, so. Let's see what I already have a cage that I need to put together. And if you can see here, it doesn't fit very well. So there's a couple of things that we're gonna have to modify. Obviously, one is the length, the overall length. I believe the rule says it can be 9 to 10 inches. So obviously we're gonna make it, to be bluntly honest, I don't have any high expectations out of this. It's just something I'm gonna do. But I am a racer, and we are gonna go within the mean of the rules. There's always gray areas. So we're gonna do our best. Obviously, we can't have adjustable arms. We'll get rid of that. But we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna start with the shock tire. All right, so before we do anything else, here's the shock tire it has. Here's everything that comes with the car. Now, I'm not saying that this car isn't cut very nice. The person that cuts these chassis does a really good job with them, but that's not the issue. The issue is just that right there. So this is what came with the car. It came with all these electronics already in it. It's real good stuff. I mean, Gen 2 hobby wing, nice Protect servo. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and rip this stuff out. We'll go ahead and put it up in our storage of parts that we can use, and we'll go. And this is a budget build. I don't want to throw a whole bunch of money at it. That's why we're gonna be very cautious of at what point we start using carbon, because that's the last thing we're gonna do. So we're gonna utilize all the lasers and everything that we have prior to cutting the expensive stuff, which is carbon, which I have here. But we're just gonna take the steps on how I'm going about building a car. So that's just one car this year that I want to do. All these wall of cars per se, heads up, are getting replaced. So, but for now, let's dig into this. We'll take the electronics out, and we'll see what we're talking about on the shock. All right, so here we got it. I'll take it apart. As you can tell here, that the cage does not fit properly because of this bulkhead. So that's something that we're going to have to kind of get creative with. But I got a couple of thoughts, so we're going to work on this. So first, we're going to look into the shock tower, and then I'm really going to look into this bulkhead and see what I can do for it to work. So let's see what I come up with. So I've been messing with this a little bit. I took these blocks out of it, and initially I'm thinking that the cage needs to go in this position where these two are at, but that is not the case. I went ahead and just kind of put the cage together real quick, and if you see, the cage actually fits around those two. So I think it's going to put us in a good position. So now the biggest question now, we can move on. We'll probably leave this alone for now. I'd really like to eliminate that to free some space up. It takes up a lot of space. I was kind of thinking about cutting these off, cutting this off, and making an extra mount hole right here. And there's one right there, so you see what I'm talking about. But since the cage goes around it, I think we'll be fine. So it does has a little bit of flex there, you see that? So, and if you look at the way this is set up, this is the only thing other than these two that holds the shock tower. So we're gonna just, the goal is just to get it to that state where it's a working, functioning car. So as you can see, per rules, it says it's supposed to be 9 to 10 inches. Well, wheel to wheel right now, center, with no adjustments in the arm, it's 11 inches. So we got 2 inches to play with. So if you can imagine bringing this in 2 inches, will kind of put us in the right spot. Now remember, we're not using any of this chassis. We're just for the sake of it being put together. But for now, we're gonna go ahead and work with the shock towers. Now the shock towers, I was thinking, well, I'm pretty sure I can lay these all the way in, but we want to put the way I've seen that the bodies are on these cars, they're pretty in there, which creates a side dam in here, like the real midgets. So for right now, I think we're gonna just go ahead and create the shocks to come out. Now this will stand the shock up a little bit more, but if I shorten the shocks, put limiters in them, this will bring me down further. So once I make the shock tower and it being shorter, I might be able to. So it's just an idea. But for right now, we're just gonna make them to where it stands up, and it'll give us this space free. We will have one piece that goes across here just to kind of give it structure. It'll be a funky looking shock tower as all the other ones are, but that's where we're at. And then once, see this cage, this chassis is made for the cage to be offset. We're not really worried about that right now. Like I said, we're gonna try to get all of its functionality in a different way in the suspension and stuff. So we're just gonna go ahead and center this back up. So we'll be removing this, adding our own bumper, and so forth. So we're gonna go ahead and take this shock tower off, and we're gonna start the process of trying to make our own. Give you a visual of what I was talking about. See, if I lean the shock towers in, that'd be pretty cool where it's inside the cage. But the biggest thing I'm worried about is the body. So, I mean, it might be there, but I'd really like for it to be as low as streamlined possible, to try kind of create a little bit of some arrow on the front end of this thing. So, but this is the good thing about making our own stuff. We're going to work with it. For right now, we're just going to try to put the shocks back outside over here like this. So then we'll cut the shock tower out like that, and then go from there. Now obviously having this shock out is going to allow it to steer faster, which kind of what we want, but then we can also control it with our camber links. So, mess with our roll center. So let's get to it now. Call this as what you may, but this is just the way, kind of how I figured I'm going to do this. So instead of me doing all the measuring, I'm pretty much going to do a template. Get this pencil, trace everything out like so. So now I have all my indicators, and then we load it straight into the computer. And now it creates my lines. I don't know if I can see the screen that good. So now we come over here to the router. The router, I have put the computer tucked in underneath the table, so it's all built in. So we have to work on this third computer, or the second computer, and then now I have pretty much got just the bottom part that I need. I don't even really need this, but I kept this, so I was able to clean up one side and then I was just able to mirror it. So it's like that's identical in its center. So yeah. Okay, so I want you to remember that like this is self-taught. I'm doing this on my own. I have never messed with any of this stuff until I kind of had to mess with it in order to do the laser thing, because it's the same concept. It's the very same concept. You get an SVG file, which a SVG file is pretty much a vector. A vector is lines. Once you create those lines, you tell whatever machine you want what to do with it, or you can manipulate the lines how you may please. Like I said, this is the way I'm doing. I'm being transparent about how I do it, and I'll explain to you why we only kept that section, the bottom part of the shot. Per se, on the image, we only kept this bottom half. Well, why is that? Because this is the only part that really matters to line up. So in theory, all I need is these two holes in this bottom section. After all of this, we're just going to use it to do what we want. All we're looking for is to make sure that these holes are in the same spot, and after that, it's just whatever design we want to go with. So this is the part that takes the most time, is working on the computer. I really have no idea what I'm looking for, but I'll put this shock tower back up, and then we're going to do some measurements to just kind of see where we're at based off of the shock tower and where it's at right now and where the roll cage is. So like I said, this is showing you everything. I think I really like enjoying watching YouTube videos of people, how they do something and why. And you know, this is the process that we're going through. So I hope y'all can follow me here. So what I'm talking about is our measuring point, we'll know that these holes are where they're going to be at. So what we're going to do is measure the center of this hole to the outside of this shock tower, and that's around 10 millimeters. So we know that the beginning of the holes have to start around 10 millimeters, but we probably got to go a little bit further, maybe another 10 millimeters. So this is from the center of this and the cage, probably looking like another 10 millimeters, 8 millimeters. So we'll start our first hole. So we could probably do 1, 2, and then this would be the highest. So that means anything else under will help us give us different ride heights, different positions and stuff like that. So if that makes sense to you. So we'll go up to the computer and start drawing it. We mess with the computer. I'll tell you, it takes a little bit because you just really don't know what you're really looking for until you start creating stuff. So we went through about 4 or 5 different deals. Let me show you what right here. I got 3 different shock towers, and this is kind of what initially we started with. Put that in there, and there was 2. The holes on the bottoms didn't line up, and then if you looked at the cage with it, it just wasn't wide enough. So we went with this style, and that was a little bit better, but it just seemed like, and we added an additional hole, but it just seemed too weak in the center. So then we went with this one. We will probably embed the SJD logo in there. Like, cool, but it was still too narrow. So then we ended up with this. So that fits perfect. The holes line up really good, like it's supposed to. Then you put the cage on it. Shocks should have 2 positions. You can put them in. You can actually lean them in a little bit. So yeah. Well, like I said, I'm just tinkering with it. And so the best thing I could do is now mount it rigid. So we're going to use a different plastic. And I really don't want to use up a lot of my Kydex that I have. So in true silky fashion, we're going to bling it. Add some extra gold acrylic left over from the plaques that I made for his race. And we'll go ahead and hard mount this and see what it looks like. All right, so we went ahead and mounted the front shock tower on there with the gold acrylic. The purpose of that is I want to go ahead and mount it to see where we at with the height of the shock tower. I also went ahead and put some wheels on it all the way around to see where we're at when it comes to ride height. Now granted, the rear of the car has rear arms on it, adjustable arms, and it already has some kind of spacers to help lower it. And to my understanding, lowering it, in their opinion, thought it was helping drive off, which is completely the opposite. So the front is looking really good. I want to go ahead and hard mounted it. I went ahead and put the cage on. I remember the cage is kind of just sitting on there, but tomorrow or on the next episode, we'll start working on the front end of the bumper, make sure we got that where that needs to be, and then we'll start working on the chassis. But once again, I want to thanks for watching me. Let me know if y'all like this kind of stuff. This is kind of what I'm going to be doing all year. This is going to be some really fun projects. This is just video one of very, very mini for this car. And then we'll just keep going from there. So once again, appreciate y'all for watching. Go ahead and remember to subscribe, throw a like, throw some comments on there, see what y'all think. And we'll see you on the next one. Peace.